The 15th race of the R&G British Challenge Cup 2023 season saw Sullivan Mounsey on pole position, but it was Evan Belford who got the whole shot into the first corner. We had a couple of DNFs on the opening lap with Charlie Huntingford and Scott McPhee coming together. Alexander Rowan was another casualty in the race as well, going down at the Shell Oils hairpin. Then look at Emmanuel Brinton, lost the rear very fast through the exit of Cascades. No points for the number 43. The safety car came out. Once it was back in, it was Sullivan Mounsey that was leading the way as some other riders went grass tracking, but back at the front it was Mounsey versus Belford for the race lead as they came through into Island Bend. Belford getting the better of Mounsey on this occasion. It was always going to be a frenetic affair between the two, and Mounsey gave no quarter onto the grass as he came down into the Lodge corner, the final turn on the track, getting himself ahead of Evan Belford and coming across the timing line. It was mightily close between the two with the checkered flag out, but it was Mounsey ultimately who ended up on top, taking the victory and doing no harm to his championship challenge. R&G British Challenge Cup Race 2 then. This is how the grid lines up with Evan Belford on the pole position with Harrison Desoy and Lucas Brown. This is the second row though in reverse order. Harrison Mackay on the outside in 6th place. Ronnie Harris in the middle on the Kavara Projects RS racing machine in 5th position. Let's see how he is going to fare. And this is your race 1 winner, Sullivan Mounsey on the Wilson Racing Honda. Can he get a good start from the second row of the grid challenge for victory? Then you've got Lucas Brown on the amphibian scaffolding machine on the outside of the front row with Harrison Desoy for company on the Microlize Cresswell Racing machine. This, of course, grid is determined by the fastest laps from the first race here yesterday, but it's Evan Belford, the championship leader by 44 points. Second place yesterday. Can he go one better here this afternoon on the RS Racing City lifting machine? So nice conditions here this afternoon. The threat of rain this morning seems to have stayed away and looks like it'll be coming along the way perhaps a little bit later if indeed it does arrive at all. But yesterday, Neil, we saw Sullivan Mounsey putting in a brilliant performance, going head-to-head with Evan Belford, and ultimately he emerged on top.
He really did. He put a great race together, led pretty much the whole way. Only one instance when Evan Belford got in front, but there's two riders, these two riders now, different agendas. Evan Belford, one hand on that championship trophy. Sullivan Mounsey coming to the fore, especially second half of the season, did a great job. He controlled things at the front yesterday, plus he had something left. I really wasn't sure whether he did have something left, but he really brought it to Evan Belford on the brakes into that last corner. So, but also Harrison Desoy, he was hovering in the top 6 the whole race. Suddenly, second on the grid, so that meant he's got fast laps in the bag, and he also finished on the podium yesterday. So he actually didn't get mentioned a whole lot. It was such a surprise, but he was doing a great job in the background.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from Harrison. So here are the championship standings after 15 races. Then is Evan Belford with a 44-point advantage over Sullivan Mounsey. So whatever happens here this afternoon, he'll still have a lead, and quite a comfortable one at that, going into the final round at Donington Park in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, he can still win the championship here this afternoon, just to remind you as well, because of course he needs a maximum of 50 points to take the advantage. So let's see whether he is going to be able to get the better of Sullivan Mounsey. Got Emmanuel Brinton there in 3rd place, trailing on 65 points further back. But here is the grid then for race 2. It's Evan Belford on pole position, Harrison Desoy and Lucas Brown alongside him on the front row. Row 2, your race 1 winner, Sullivan Mounsey, with Ronnie Harris and Harrison Mackay on the 6th position on the grid. Then you've got Julian Correa, Holly McCabe and Ryan Frost. Row 4 is Ollie Walker, Emmanuel Brinton, unlucky to crash out from a top 5 position with Alfie Davidson for company. Then row 5 is Clayton Edmonds, Philip Sorobiak and Alexander Rowan, who was another rider that ended up on the floor. Eli Banish, Reece Stevenson and then Ewan Jones. Row 7 is Dan Goodman, Ben Jalith and George Bowes. Then row 8, Charlie Huntingford, Sislav Pilpenko and the number 28 of Charlie Barnes. Peter Willis, Scott McPhee and Josh Bannister line up on row 9. The 10th row is Luca Hopkins, then Luke Schofield and the number 12 of Tyler King, and Greg Marshall completing the 31 rider strong grid.
A very quick shout out to Dick Hopkins. Dick Hopkins, father of Luca Hopkins, became unwell at Knockhill, went to hospital, now back home in a hospital and making great progress, making good recovery. Spoke to Luca yesterday, lovely little lad. He's up there on 20th on the grid at the moment, but great news from the Hopkins family.
Yeah, very much wishing all the best for Dick Hopkins as the riders line up on the grid, ready to go for race 2. Harrison Soy there in the middle of the front row as the rest of the riders make their way on to the grid. Looks like we've just got a rider out of position a little bit further back. I think that might actually be Luca Hopkins, who's just managed to get himself now in the right position as the green flag is waved at the back then. Evan Belford on pole position. It's all eyes to the lights. 12 laps of action as the red lights are on. Lights out and we're underway. Good start from pole position for Belford then. Desoy tries to duck in as we look at the second row of the grid. That looks like Harrison Mackay making good progress on board the number 61 as they come through. And also you've got Ronnie Harris in the mix there on the RS Racing Machine. He's up into third place, but it is Evan Belford that leads the way then from Harrison Desoy, and Sullivan Mounsey starting fourth. He is still fourth as Lucas Brown goes underneath one of the Microlized Cresswell Racing bikes of Julian Correa and gets himself up into fifth place.
Clean start for everyone. Number 4 there, Sullivan Mounsey. He led off the line yesterday, this time in fourth. So that's going to give us some interesting viewing as this race unfolds.
Let's see what happens as they come through Island Bend. Look at that on the inside. Harrison Desoy on the championship leader, Evan Belford. Nice, decisive move. He hits the front in the opening stages. So really good move there from Harrison Desoy. And that proves that he's got a lot of confidence in the front end of that Microlized Cresswell Racing Honda.
He certainly has. And yeah, not a championship contender, so nothing to lose. He wants to win as many races as possible, at least finish on the podium. So yeah, he's not going to give Evan Belford any respect. Evan Belford has to keep his nose clean. He has to keep things safe. When I look down the inside into his slops, not quite close enough. But yeah, most important for Evan Belford is to finish this one.
Yeah, absolutely right. They make their way through. Here's one of the riders has gone down. That looks like it could have been George Bowes at the back of the field on the third of the Microlized Cresswell Racing bikes. I think it might be.
What a spot. Oh, it's always an orange blur. Well, and it was, you're right.
Yeah, George Bowes, unfortunately, that's gone down the road. So his race goes no further than half a lap. Meanwhile, at the front, his teammate sitting in second place behind championship leader Evan Belford, who's now retaken the lead. Sullivan Mounsey here on the inside of Ronnie Harris for third place as well. And here comes Lucas Brown, also looking to his inside and goes through. So Mounsey there was looking to attack and eventually ended up losing a place.
Lucky there he didn't get his front taken out by Ronnie Harris, just swept across him perfectly on line. But yeah, sketchy moment there. Sullivan Mounsey gesticulating to the number 29 of Lucas Brown.
Yeah, as they come through Old Hall Corner at the end of the first lap. Mounsey there a little bit wide on the curb. Keep an eye out for the likes of Harley McCabe as well. We know that Harley is really an impressive rider. Has had a few podiums so far this year. Let's have a look and see what happened here to George Bowes in the background of your shots.
He went down on his own. Looked like he's a little bit wide into his there. You can see the camber drops off and front end just said no, on the brakes, turning in there, forks bottomed out and front tucked, and maybe a cool tyre on the opening laps.
I do beg your pardon, it was Tyler King that went down on board the number 12, not George Bowes, so apologies there to George, but Tyler King, unfortunately, the rider that ended up going down the road. Meanwhile, here is Emmanuel Brinton, just looking at him. He, of course, was the DNF yesterday, and he's looking to the inside of Harley McCabe at the Brinton chicane. McCabe then runs it a little bit wide, and Brinton says thanks very much and goes up through and into sixth place.
Yeah, Brinton coming from way back, 11th on the grid, so made good progress already.
Yeah, good start there for Emmanuel Brinton. A nice recovery ride for him after ending up on the deck yesterday. He'll be hoping for more forward progress whilst the field is bunched up as it is. You can see the advantage there for Evan Belford. He would be crowned champion at this point. He needs a 50-point buffer going into Donington Park in a couple of weeks. As it stands, if the checkered flag fell now, 58 points would be the advantage. Belford would be crowned as the 2023 champion.
He's certainly looking like a champion. Look at the gap. We never had any kind of gap like this yesterday. Yeah, capitalised on the opening lap. Some of the main contenders, especially Sullivan Mounsey, back there in fourth on the grid, and he's got tangled up, so not getting a clean run through at this point.
So here is Ronnie Harris going side by side with Lucas Brown. This is in the battle for the final podium place. Harris just manages to hold it into Old Hall, but does he? Because look at the lunge there from Lucas Brown. He's through and up the inside and into third place. That was a nice textbook switchback manoeuvre. Keep an eye out as well for Sullivan Mounsey just in the background there, as well as Emmanuel Brinton. Brinton, used to racing over on European circuits. He's actually based over in Valencia in Spain. It's his first time here visiting Oulton Park. He was very quick here yesterday, unlucky to end up on the deck. He's out for revenge here this afternoon for race 2.
Yeah, Brinton, totally dedicated to his career. Spoke to his dad earlier on, and he talked me through his week's training programme. I actually had to have a sit down afterwards. I was feeling tired just listening to him. So, but absolutely loving it, combining that with schoolwork, and very hopeful that he'll find out tomorrow if he gets invited to the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup selection event. So it could be the next step, maybe in Europe next year in the ETC, or maybe in the Red Bull Rookies.
Evan Belford put in half a second over Harrison Desoy last time around. Really impressive performance so far from the championship-elect. Harrison Desoy now coming under pressure here from Lucas Brown. He's had a few podiums so far this year, 2 at Silverstone, 1 at Snetterton as well. Let's see whether Brown is going to be able to repeat that feat or whether he's going to come under pressure from the likes of Evan Belford. I have to say, Ronnie Harris just looks like he's dropped off the back only by a few bike lengths or so, and he's got Sullivan Mounsey for company now in 5th and 6th place respectively for the two.
Yeah, and good sector times coming from Desoy and Brown. They could do a lot worse than they, but just work together because they're not losing time to Evan Belford, but they will do if they keep shuffling each other back, and that's exactly what's happened. Obviously, an exchange of paint there with Harrison.
Yeah, that was Brinton, Lucas Brown and Desoy, yeah.
Yeah, but there are those. 0.8 was the gap on the last lap, and now it is 0.7. So they haven't lost any time, so they just need to keep their heads down, and there's no reason why they can't get back in touch with Belford.
Yeah, a little bit wide there on the exit of the first corner for Emmanuel Brinton, who's now up into 2nd place. There's an opportunity knock here for Lucas Brown, down into Cascades. No way through for him at the moment. It's all about momentum on these 250cc single-cylinder Honda NSR 250 bikes, and well, you can see just how much corner speed they're able to carry. In some instances, at some circuits on the calendar, they actually carry more speed than the 600s or even possibly a super stock or super bike because they're just so fast and so light.
They are, and that's where they generate the momentum and the speed. They've got narrow tyres, so they change direction quite quickly. They've got good profile tyres, so they can carry good side grip, all on the Dunlops, all on the same tyres. So yeah, and look at this, that gap is closing, and Brinton is the man. And although Oulton Park doesn't have any long straights, there's still the slipstream effect helps down the back straight down to Hislops, so they can do well just to slipstream each other and try and get to the front.
Emmanuel Brinton, 3 wins so far in 2023, 1 at Knockhill, 1 at Silverstone, and 1 the last time we saw the British Talent Cup, which was at Thruxton. That was in race 2. Yesterday here, he put in again a very strong performance up until the point where he ended up crashing and going down the road.
Gap's closing.
Certainly
definitely closing.
Yeah, it's looking really, really good here for the likes of Emmanuel Brinton and Lucas Brown, etc., all the group that are following, because Belford, despite having the pace initially, just doesn't seem to have quite what it takes at the moment. Maybe he's just keeping something perhaps a little bit in reserve for later on.
Well, yeah, probably not. It's just absolute to the max with these kids, definitely, and I think that plan is working. Mounsey having a look down the inside of Harrison Desoy into Old Hall, pulls off that manoeuvre. He's got his rhythm back together, he's got things settled down, and yeah, so there's no reason why he can't make his way to the front.
So down in towards Cascades we go. Emmanuel Brinton there still soaking up the pressure of Lucas Brown, Harrison Desoy, Sullivan Mounsey also in the mix. Here comes Mounsey looking for a move on Lucas Brown as they come down in towards Island Bend. Great momentum he got out of Cascades. He gets himself ahead even before the left-hander.
Mounsey really has got everything together now, making good progress. Personal best lap time came on that last lap, up on into a podium position.
Great ride so far as well, a little bit further down for Reece Stevenson. He's made 11 places up from where he started, and likewise Peter Willis as well. He's up 10 places inside the top 15. So a good ride from those two. Back at the front, meanwhile, here is Sullivan Mounsey chasing down Emmanuel Brinton.
Mounsey won the race yesterday with a broken clutch plates in there, so all changed. So that could have been something if it hadn't been checked, or I thought everything was okay. Could have been a disaster today, but everything back in one piece. And noticed him out this morning having a bit of a warm-up, bit of a gentle cycle ride, so totally dedicated athlete.
Yeah, it certainly is. Here is Brinton there looking for a move on Belford, no way through. So Mounsey in 3rd place. He's the nearest championship challenger to Evan Belford. 50 points is what he will need to keep the championship hope alive. So at the moment, Mounsey needs to get himself ahead of Brinton rather, and Brinton in turn needs to get ahead of Belford for the championship to go down to the wire at Donington Park in a couple of weeks.
In the ideal world, but Mounsey for him, I think, outside chance of winning the championship, but winning races is the way he wants to finish the season.
Bit of a wobble on the front end there for Mounsey in 3rd place. Half race distance we are then, lap 6 out of 12. Oh, that's Harrison Desoy who's gone down on the exit of Old Hall. Looks like he just lost the rear going through there, and unfortunately that's 2 of the Microlice Cresswell racing riders who have gone down the road and out of the race. Back at the front though, meanwhile, Brinton now ahead of Belford for the first time. So first chink in the armour here for Brinton. Is he going to lose another place here to Sullivan Mounsey? He certainly is. Mounsey through like a stabbed rat into second place, slightly wide on the exit of Island Bend, but no reason to worry. But he has got another reason to worry as Belford, because Lucas Brown's on his inside. So 3 places lost in a couple of corners.
Yeah, 4th, I guess, finishing the podium is what he wants to do in the ideal world. I'm sure John Wright and Ryan Saxby have advised him, they've done the calculations, keep things safe, but yeah, to go from the lead to 4th within half a lap is not ideal.
So 5 wins he's taken so far this year has Evan Belford. Let's see whether he's going to be able to get himself back onto the podium. What about Sullivan Mounsey for the race lead and Emmanuel Brinton into his? No way through for him for now.
Well, yesterday Sullivan Mounsey was very strong into the final corner, into Lodge. Really strong with the brakes. Definitely looked like he had something the whole race, and I think that's the same case today. He's got Emmanuel Brinton in front of him now. He's going to line himself up nicely as they go through the right of Druids here, up over the rise. He's going to get a nice drive out there, up over the hump and down the inside. Yesterday he used a bit of the grass to pass Evan Belford. Doesn't need to do that today. Is he close enough?
I think he is. He's going to go for the inside line here. Brinton there losing out to Sullivan Mounsey. Lovely move there, absolutely fantastic from Sullivan Mounsey. One of his real strengths this year has been on the brakes.
Yeah, look there, a little shudder from the front of the bike, but he gets that chatter while he's upright, so it's not a big issue. A little bit of wobble holding going into Old Hull, but perfectly okay.
Belford back ahead of Brown for 3rd place, and he chopped the nose off of Lucas Brown coming down in towards the first corner of Old Hall there. Brown's going to repay the favour up the inside and back through into 3rd into the skate. Anything you can do, I can do better, seemingly is the mantra of Lucas Brown. They're going to have to keep an eye out as well for Ronnie Harris, who's closed right up onto the back as this quartet have been squabbling amongst one another.
Similar lap times coming from Harris.
Yeah, so Lucas Brown here lining up a move on Emmanuel Brinton to the inside at Shell Oils. Lovely move there, that was absolutely perfect. Managed to hold the momentum going through Island Bend, sent it up the inside to Shell Oils and got up into 2nd place. Brinton tries to retaliate, but in vain as they come in towards Britons.
First ever race weekend for Emmanuel Brinton here at Oulton Park, so doing a good job. Did comment yesterday that he was kind of learning the track as he went, and that tip off at Cascades was weird. Looked like the back end of his bike just chattered a little bit, and down he went.
Oh, side by side in towards Hizzies then. Brinton going to try and get the overspeeds. They come through into Knickerbrook, but no way through for him there. So Lucas Brown does hold on to 2nd position for now. Trying to build on his 3 podium tallies of 2023 is Lucas Brown. All the while they're squabbling amongst one another. Look what it's giving here for Sullivan Mounsey. He's just able to build out just a few tenths of a second or so. But then a corner later, it changes and it closes right up again.
It really does, and number 52, Evan Belford, getting an armchair view here, but what he doesn't want is to get involved, and he certainly doesn't want any of that excitement. He just needs to maybe sit there and maybe just watch for a few laps. There's quite a few laps left, 4 laps, and then maybe just make his move at the end. But these two are going to go all the way to the flag.
Yeah, fantastically close. Some great battles going on a little bit further down. You've got the likes of Julian Correa, Harrison Mackay in the mix there, as well as Alfie Davison and Reece Stevenson, who's also making progress following a tip-off yesterday. Back at the front, though, still the 4 riders of Sullivan Mounsey, Lucas Brown, Emmanuel Brinton and Evan Belford, the championship leader, who are still going toe-to-toe with one another. Ronnie Harris there very much ready to try and pick up the pieces should anything come a cropper. Oh, that's tight into Island Bend.
Fast corner, 80 mile an hour there. That island is the tip in there. Back a couple of gears, then down into Shell Oils. Maybe back to 1st, then 2nd as head out. Up through the gears ahead, round fast right-hander to the Brinton chicane.
It's a brilliant part of the lap. The whole Oulton Park circuit is fantastic. I just absolutely love watching bike racing here because the undulation especially really does make it such a unique challenge. And all the corners here are very fast, sort of medium speed and flowing corners. It really does seem to lend itself. It's a real rider favourite.
It really is, and a great training ground for these guys. These guys just over 40 brake horsepower on the NSF machines, and Oulton Park, just a real rider circuit. And to be honest, probably as fast as I want to go.
So you're Evan Belford here in 4th place, Neil.
Yes.
What are you thinking at this particular point in the race? You know you've got the championship on your mind. You know you've got a healthy advantage. Are you going to be attacking?
Not at this point. He's a smart lad, and he's had a few offs this year, but he really has put a great championship together and proved that on his day he can pretty much take off at the front and get the job done. But at this point in time, you can see these 3 squabbling around, as you said, and he definitely, and they won't care if he gets in the mix, but I think he just needs to keep his powder dry. And if he feels like he has got some pace, then maybe attack in the last couple of laps. But it's a 5-way battle now for the podium.
Yeah, Ronnie Harris is very much joined into the frame here as Lucas Brown went to the lead and then back into third place by Old Hall. It's Brinton versus Mounsey for the race lead as they come down in towards Cascade. It's going to be tied through there. Whoa. Wow.
Sullivan Mounsey, he loves leading, and and he always seems to be able to fight back, and that's so important. You have to pass or be passed in this class. Mounsey's happy to lead, he's got the pace, but I do feel he's got a little bit of hand, but I do think Evan Belford has got a lot of hand as well, equally as strong when the push comes to shove, and he can race, he's not scared to get his elbows out, but he has to be so careful, he needs to just bring this one home.
Yeah, what about Ronnie Harris as well? He was some 4/10 of a second quicker than these quartet of riders at the front of this one. Let's see what is going to happen here between them. Belford there just dropping back by a couple of bike lengths or so.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he lost time there, but he missed the gear coming out of Shellows. He's very much back in touch with Lucas Brown now, though.
Yeah, so through in towards Hizzies then we go. Sullivan Mounsey still leads the way. Fastest lap overall in this one. It goes to Emmanuel Brinton. He's sitting there in second position. Would love to add to his win tally this year as they come under the bridge, up Clay Hill.
It's fascinating, as I cannot tell. I was so interested to see what Evan Belford's going to do. I personally, I'd probably sit where I am because that championship is his and he can save heroics for maybe the final round. But at this point in time, these guys are going at it, and things will kick off as they always do in the smaller classes. The last couple of laps, everyone's keeping the powder dry, keeping the noses clean. The last couple of laps, it's going to be all out for the win, and I don't know which way it's going to go, but number 52 needs to stay out of trouble.
The thing is here, this is a moment in time that we need to freeze frame as well, really, because these four riders battling amongst one another, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to see some people going off maybe to the European Talent Cup, maybe to Red Bull Rookies. They may not be here on the grid next year, so we should be savouring these moments in the British Talent Cup while we can.
I think pretty much all of them will see moving either sideways or into Europe next year, but and there's such a good bunch coming through. The age limit for Road to 3's held everyone back a little bit, but we're building up some cracking talent here in the UK, and let's hope that, like Casey Gorman, they can go to the ETC and show the skills there. Yeah,
there's every possibility that could happen. Let's wait and see what the rider moves are going to be. Keep an eye out for Ronnie Harris. They're just sort of keeping his powder dry. No, this is the best weekend that we've seen so far from Ronnie Harris up until this point. He'd only had 1 or 2 top 10 finishes, so really impressive stuff from the number 66 on the Cavara Projects RS Racing machine. That bike was originally occupied earlier on this season by Rhys Stevenson. He split with them quite spectacularly after the first round at Silverstone. Ronnie Harris has jumped on board that bike and he's going great guns out there. Seems to have really found his mojo in the last half of this season.
Yeah, it's such a shame. I had high hopes for Rhys Stevenson this year. Unfortunately, the technical yesterday, he's way down there. Where is he now? He's in 11th, so still in the points. But yeah, Rhys Stevenson on the Lexel sponsor machine. I really thought things would be really good, but he's had so many injuries, crashes, bad luck technicals, so let's hope we can pull everything together for next season.
So under the bridge we go, in towards Lodge Corner then. Mounsey looking to the inside, Brown trying to repay the favour, 2 for the price of 1. The supermarket deal pays off quite nicely then for Lucas Brown. He seems to love diving it to the inside. That could be pretty critical as we come into the last couple of laps of this race.
Yeah, Sullivan Mounsey didn't expect that. He thought he was maybe had one rider to pass there, but look how he fights back. Yeah.
Ronnie Harris as well on the inside of Belford there for 4th place at Old Hall.
There's no way Evan Belford's going to settle for 5th. No,
not a chance. No, you can guarantee that this order is going to change. Down in towards Cascades we go. Mounsey, he loves taking a wide sweeping line through these fast.
And he's not scared to sweep across in front of riders behind him.
So down in towards the Island Bend and Shell Oils we go for the penultimate time. Brinton there looking to the inside, but the nose very firmly chopped off by Sullivan Mounsey. Keep an eye out as well for Belford, who's got back past of Ronnie Harris. In towards Shell Oils they go. They managed to exit the corner in the same positions they entered.
I thought Emmanuel Brinton had the job done there, but he's not scared, and that's psychological for other riders. You know that the rider you're trying to go underneath will cut across in front of you, then you think twice about doing it, because definitely end in tears, and a fast corner like Island Bend is not somewhere that you want things to go wrong.
You can see on the championship standings on the left-hand side of your screen, it wouldn't be enough for Belford to be crowned as the British champion this afternoon. However, this actually, just looking at the stats, would possibly be his 2nd worst result of the season so far. His worst result being 5th place, which was at the opening round of Silverstone. So that just goes to show the consistency that Belford has had over the course of 2023, where he's looking like he might be set to try and wrap the championship up with a weekend left in his pocket.
every one of these riders is a real class act, riders with a great future. So it's so difficult to predict. They've all got different skills, they've all got different strong points on this track. Mounsey seems to have things covered. He's certainly not scared to pass immediately, and that's what you have to do if anyone does threaten to come past them. So this is the last lap now, and this is when it all kicks off.
Across the timeline we go then, into Old Hall Corner for the final time. Mounsey leads the way, head shake on the front of his Honda NSR 250 as they make their way through and down in towards Cascades. This is where the momentum begins to build up for these riders. We've seen a few moves being made before Island Bend, we've seen them being made through and indeed into Shell Oil. So let's see what happens. Mounsey from Brinton, from Brown, from Belford, 4 riders, nose to tail, championship possibly on the line here for Belford as well. He needs to get his elbows out, attacks Lucas Brown, goes up into third. Brinton here looking to the inside of Mounsey, but no way through. Here comes Evan Belford though, to the outside at Island Bend. Is he going to have a look into the inside? No! Here comes Lucas Brown retaliating and up through into third place.
Yeah, I thought Evan Belford was going all the way to the front here. He really had his head down also with Mounsey. You can tell that he's digging in. He's not making any progress though. Everyone very much in touch.
Brinton chicane then, his is going to be a good opportunity on these lighter bikes to make some moves on the inside. Mounsey with no hole being punched in the air in front of him. Slipstream advantage for the 3 riders that are following him. Downing towards the chicane we go. Is anybody going to think about a move? Brinton has a half look, but there's no room at the end there for now. It's going to be a lunge surely at Lodge Corner where we're going to see the moves being made, but Brinton, he's trying to line something up here through Knickerbrook and up Clay Hill.
He really is a smart rider. He understands racecraft, race strategy. He knows he needs to not dive past at this point. There are a few more passing potential moves coming here. The next one is to get a nice run, a little bit wide there. Yeah, that's quite smart. Get a nice run through Druids, try and get in the back of Sullivan Mounsey, but we know how strong the number 4 Mounsey is on the brakes.
Keep an eye out for Lucas Brown in third place. He's loved a dive to the inside. Mounsey then goes defensive. Brinton there on the outside. Lucas Brown looking to his inside. Nose to tail they run. It's going to be a drag to the line for race 2 of the R&G British Challenge Cup. Mounsey or Brinton, which way is it going to go? As they dive to the line, contact between the 2, and Emmanuel Brinton takes the victory by the smallest of margins. 0.006 of a second at the line over Sullivan Mounsey. Lucas Brown in third place. Evan Belford in 4th position at the checkered flag. Wow, what an end, what a ride from Emmanuel Brinton. His first time here at Oulton Park this weekend, and he signs off race 2 with a victory. Absolutely fantastic on the Cavara Projects RS racing machine. Simply superb from Emmanuel Brinton. Let's see what is going to happen for the final weekend of the season. It's not going to be enough for Belford to be crowned as the champion here this afternoon, courtesy of Mounsey finishing 2nd and Belford 4th at the checkered flag. Let's have another look and see if we can piece together what happened here to the timing line, Neil.
I'll tell you what it was absolute genius. That was a move that you hope might just work in it, and it did. None of these riders backed off and kept things safe. Pretty sure that was a gap between 1st and 2nd yesterday going over the line.
Yeah, simply fantastic from Emmanuel Brinton. That makes it his 4th win of 2022. 3rd place here yesterday, a victory here this afternoon. His first visit here to Oulton Park this weekend, and what a way to do it. A podium yesterday and the race victory here this afternoon. And a great ride also from Lucas Brown on the amphibian scaffolding machine. That makes it his 4th podium of the season so far as well for the number 29. The riders making their way then in on their cool-down lap, and what a superb ride from Emmanuel Brinton. Evan Belford tried as hard as he could, but it was 4th place for him at the checkered flag. It's not the title for him this afternoon, but he's got a good, healthy points advantage going into Donington Park.
Not a problem, not a problem. He's done his hard work earlier in the season. He needs to keep things safe. It all got a bit sketchy there at the end. But I tell you what, these top 5 riders, I'm super impressed with the way they were riding. Thinking about race strategies, thinking about the last couple of laps, which is the most important laps, and every one of them had a plan. Only one of them was going to win the race, so absolutely brilliant.
Race 2 results then. Emmanuel Brinton takes the victory ahead of Sullivan Mounsey. 0.006 of a second to the line between those 2 riders. Lucas Brown, a quite brilliant 4th podium of the season for the number 24 ahead of Evan Belford. Tried his hardest, but it's not a podium and it's not the title here this afternoon ahead of Ronnie Harris. Great rides also from the likes of Julian Correa, Alfie Davidson, Harrison Mackay, Harley McCabe and Ollie Walker. Those riders separated by less than a second to the checkered flag. The points finishes are completed by Clayton Edmonds, Eli Banish on the Vision Track machine and Alexander Rowan in 15th place. So the championship standings then, after 16 races in 2023, Evan Belford had a chance, but he needed over 50 points going into Donington Park in a couple of weeks' time. 37 is the advantage that he holds after race 2 this afternoon, so it will go through to the final weekend of the season. Emmanuel Brinton does himself no harm, closing up on the gap to second. He's not in championship contention anymore, but not a bad result from him. And further down the order, the likes of Julian Correa and Ollie Walker getting some good points positions as well. Further down the order, we saw some good positions there for the likes of Eli Banish and Clayton Edmonds as well here this afternoon. So Emmanuel Brinton into Parc Fermé then. His 4th victory of 2023. What a superb performance from the youngster. Let's see what he can do next time out.
Emmanuel Brinton, talk to me about that last lap. I just watched you guys all go into the last corner together and come out, you and Sullivan bouncing off each other, but you managed to pip him. It looked like he was going to go right around the outside at the last turn.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about going around the outside, but I saw he braked really late and I thought he was going to go wide, so I got the cut back. And it was really close to the line. I think we hit each other. But, well, I think I planned the race really well, and I was really happy with this race.
It's the first time we've seen you on the top of the podium for a little while. Does it give us you extra momentum to go into these last final rounds?
Yeah, this win was really important for me, and it's given me loads of confidence for the next 2 races at Donington, which is a new track for me again, and I think I'll smash it there.
I certainly hope you do. Best of luck.
Thanks. I just want to thank all of my team Cavara, Project Cyrus Racing Team, K-Tech, Shark Helmets, Alpine Stars, everyone that supported me.
How on earth do you remember all them? Well done.
Thanks.
Well, Emmanuel Brinton, he's managed to get the plaudits of the sponsors and indeed for Shaky Byrne down there, who was interviewing him as well. Super impressive performance from Emmanuel Brinton. Great ride from him. Sullivan Mounsey, I don't think he'll be disappointed with 2nd place there, Neil, but well, he gave it as good as he could really to try and take that win. 6,000 to the line.
And yeah, for that reason, give it his all. He knew he was strong. He just got a little bit outfoxed there, but he did everything he possibly could in 6,000 of a second. You can't be disappointed. And team seemed happy anyway with the 2nd place, so that's right. And he'll also go to Brands with loads of confidence and try and win a couple of races there. What a finale we're in for at Brands.
Absolutely. I'm gutted I'm not there, to be honest with you, because it's going to be an absolute barnstormer in the British Challenge Cup, as it always proves to be. We wait for the riders to make their way on to the podium here this afternoon. Lucas Brown there just on the right-hand side of your picture. Podium eluded him yesterday with 4th place at the checkered flag. But that does make it his 4th podium of 2023. 2 third-place finishes at Silverstone when he was supporting the MotoGP event. And Snetterton, earlier on in the season, he was at 2nd place as well. But it's 3rd place for him here this afternoon as he walks up on to the rostrum at Oulton Park. Great ride, good confidence going into the final weekend of the season. Super Sullivan Mounsey, Smooth Sully, as he likes to be called, makes his way into 2nd place by the smallest of margins. It wasn't quite enough to depose Emmanuel Brinton as he comes to the top step of the podium here at Oulton Park. His first visit and his first victory in Cheshire. So 3rd place then for Lucas Brown as he holds the trophy aloft. 2nd place there for Sullivan Mounsey. He'll be pretty pleased with that, especially with such a close fight with this man here. Emmanuel Brinton taking his 4th victory of the season. Pure delight for him. Highlights then from race 2 of the R&G British Challenge Cup saw Evan Belford starting on pole position with Harrison Desoy in 2nd place. Sullivan Mounsey made a great start from the 2nd row of the grid as Ronnie Harris got himself up through on the inside as they all challenged for positions a little bit further down. Unfortunately for Harrison Desoy, his race came a cropper in the opening stages on the Microlight Cresswell racing machine as he went down the road at Old Hall Corner. Back at the front, Emmanuel Brinton, Sullivan Mounsey, Evan Belford were going toe-to-toe with one another, and they started squabbling with each other. That brought Lucas Brown into the frame as he sent it through on the inside of Belford at Shell Oils. And then further back as well, keep an eye out for the likes of Ronnie Harris on board the 66, who got himself joined into the party as well. It was always going to be a case of it being mightily close to the checkered flag. Brinton versus Mounsey to the timing line. Contact between the two as they took the checkered flag. Ultimately, it was Brinton who bounces back and goes to the top step of the podium. for his first victory here at Oulton Park.